What's up guys, I'm Piranha Prigel and it's time for the gaming news. So before I screw up the intro and turn it into something longer and dumber than it should be, like I'm doing right now, let's get right into it. First up in today's news, and as we already know, and if you didn't already know, well, you're about to find out. Last week, Facebook bought Oculus Rift for $2 billion, and people are extremely angry at this, and I mean like really angry about this. So angry that they've actually sent the developers of the Oculus Rift and their families death threats and dished out harassing phone calls. I can understand that people are upset about Facebook buying the Oculus Rift and that Facebook now has full control over it, but to go as far as sending death threats to the developer and their family who has literally nothing to do with it over a virtual reality headset, like, holy shit, that's psycho. Like, literally, who does that? Whether you agree or disagree with the move that Oculus has taken, that's like crazy to take it that far. Like, what the fuck? Like, just having the thought of doing that, like, this is what these people do. They're literally like reading the news and being like, you know what? I'm so fucking pissed off at this that I'm going to write a letter and threaten the developer's life and their family's life for doing this unless they backtrack on their decision. Like, really? Like, what the fuck? Who does that? Anyway, before I go into more of a rant about how retarded that actually is, the co-founder had this to say. We expected a negative reaction from people in the short term. We did not expect to be getting so many death threats and harassing phone calls that extended to our families. We know we will prove ourselves with actions and not words, but that kind of shit is unwarranted, especially since it is impacting people who have nothing to do with Oculus. Although this doesn't really surprise me as it is the internet and people sending other people and companies death threats over dumb shit is actually relatively common, especially within the YouTube community. Especially when people get angry at recent news they've heard about or if they disagree with it, which is actually really dumb and it's actually mind-boggling that people do this. But it happens, and the people who do actually send death threats, I doubt they're actually going to go through with the death threat, considering it's probably a couple of 10-year-olds in their basement trying to troll and scare people into doing what they want them to do by feeling big and tough, even though the companies will most likely just ignore them. But that's pretty crazy that people are actually doing this over the Oculus Rift being bought by Facebook. Anyway, on to the next news piece of the day, and that's about Alien Isolation. Over the weekend, Creative Assembly announced the release date of the upcoming title. The game is said to be released on October 7th of this year. It was also revealed that the game will feature surroundings that are deliberately low sci-fi, meaning that there will be no technology developed after 1979 in the game. It was also revealed that the game will feature non-alien enemies and also a crafting system that will allow players to make various things like weapons. There will also be a player choice system that will change the game's outcome based on the choices the player makes. All this stuff sounds really cool, and the game is most likely going to be extremely intense and terrifying. I personally probably won't get this game simply because I hate horror games. I just can't enjoy them because they literally scare the shit out of me, and after 5 minutes I'm like, nope, and then I'm scared at night for the next month and a half, and believe me, that's not fun. So I never put myself in that situation anymore, but if you get off over horror games and being scared shitless, then this is going to be a pretty fun game for you. Anyway, to the last piece of news for today, the creative director of Watch Dogs, Jonathan Moran, has been going to town with information on the upcoming game on his Twitter feed over the weekend. Some of the information that was released, and this is not limited to, there was a heap of information released, but this is the main stuff that I thought was the coolest and the most interesting. So the cooler things that we learned over the weekend are that an animation has been added for Aiden, that's the main character in Watch Dogs, to open doors actually using his hands, while before he just ran into them. Although this isn't a major thing, it's going to add to the realism of the game instead of him just, running into the door. I don't know why that wasn't added in there in the first place, to be honest, but anyway, it's there now. You can also buy different sets of clothing, but you can't mix and match different parts. There are different difficulty settings you can play on, including a realism setting that is supposedly pretty brutal, but still fair for you if you want a bit more of a challenge when playing. Apparently, moving from cover to cover while you're in sight while playing on realism mode is almost suicidal, so realism mode is going to be pretty intense. Continuing on with the revealed info, the bandana that Aiden wears over his face is automatically put on when you pull out your gun. There will be a dynamic blend of ragdoll physics and scripted animation when you jump out of a car at high speed. There will also be fall damage as well when you fall from great heights. And finally, when you board a train, you can either skip the train ride or you can sit down and enjoy it. And you can also hack and control the start/stop of the train while you're on it to outsmart cops. That is some little bits of info that the developer has given out about the game over the weekend, and to me is all really cool information information about the game, and I simply can't wait to play it. It was also announced that there will be no microtransactions for the game as well, and that there will be no dulled down version of the game, and by that I mean there will be no version released to keep it PG. So if you want to avoid all the violence and mature theme stuff in the game, then there's pretty much no option for you. There's a lot more info that was released on the game as well, including things on graphics and resolutions that can be found in the articles linked below. And if you haven't already checked out the new trailer for Watch Dogs that was released last week, down in the description below, it looks absolutely insane, and I'm super pumped for this game. Anyway, yeah, that's the end of today's show. All this stuff that I spoke about today will be in the description below. So I hope you liked today's episode, and if you did, hit the like button. And as always, guys, I'm Piranha Prigel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Piranha Prigel. Now, I don't even know how many subscribers I have. This is awkward.